It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US makes studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ulike.com. U-Like.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. Here we are, live, coming to you from the Alico building. Why is this left side so dark, Scotty? What's going on? We might have to close the shades, dude. Close the blinds on the left side.
That's not why, but I'll go close them.
Come on, Scotty. Oh, am I muted? Yeah. Oh, well, then you had to get up anyways. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. Here we are. Scotty Swingler's on the move early. We're closing the blinds. You got to give the pure studio effect here. I'm coming over here from, we just filmed Inside the 12 over at KWTX, and it will be airing on True TV, HBO Max, and all your Big 12 media markets on Thursday. And then, you can watch it all weekend. The reason I bring that up first is because we are going to start the show off talking about BYU football. Now, first, we want to mention a reminder, we're presented by Slovacics, right? And this doesn't happen without Ray and the good folks at Slovacics in West. And if you're on 35, if you're going to a Texas game, you're going to a Baylor game, you're going to a Texas State game, I don't care where you're going, dude. TCU, right? Stop at Slovacics, dude. And if you're in West and then you get a hankering to get a car, go over to Socorro Family Ford. And don't forget about Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers if something were to befall you on those roads. And if you get any money ever, I want you to put it in First National Bank of Central Texas. And other sponsors, of course, Crawford Austin Properties. The list goes on, and they will get mentions throughout the show. Just had a chance on that Big 12 show to speak with Kalani Sitake, which was like really cool for me because I have covered BYU for the past 2 years, and I have gotten to know the program and folks around the program and have developed somewhat of an adoration for the way that they do things. How they have set the bar on the field and off of it, I think is like ridiculously impressive. And they broke through some BYU social norms, I think, over the weekend, or what are perceived social norms, with having that big noon kickoff there with Dave Portnoy and, just all the antics. And it was a wonderful party in Provo that culminated with a victory over Utah in the Holy War, where you once again got to see what is making Bear Bachmeier great. And I'll get to the conversation I had with Kalani Sitake, which we are going to have on in full later in the week to share with all you guys. But the Bear Bachmeier situation, I think one of the main things that has punctuated his success are the lack of turnovers. And that's what happened on Saturday night. When you get a freshman quarterback, I mean, Aaron Roderick said this, I think, yesterday. When you have a freshman quarterback who's not going to turn the ball over in an environment like Saturday night, right, in an intense rivalry game where the stakes are so high, you have someone special, and Aaron Roderick said he's just not normal. He's not like a normal freshman quarterback. And then this morning, having an opportunity to talk to Kalani Sitake, he mentions to me that, and we remember, we talk about Tiger Bachmeier because he's on the BYU roster with Bear, but Hank Bachmeier was really the trailblazer. And Hank actually was the last freshman quarterback to go 6-0. Now the Cougars are 7-0, but Hank did it at Boise State. And now here Bear is doing the same thing. That's a stat that I didn't know about, and Scotty has another wild stat we're going to entertain you with in 1 second. And then, by the way, we have Hannah Hoover, Oklahoma City sports reporter, up and coming like a rocket ship in the business. Oh, by the way, the sister of Josh Hoover. So we get to talk about some cool Big 12 topics, Josh Hoover, and also I'm curious as to what's going on with Oklahoma football because something's happening there. And it seems to be pretty special. But Hank Bachmeier blazing a trail for his younger brother. I can say it. Look, and I'll be quick about this because I don't want to get down or the off-ramp on too much personal stuff. But I was very fortunate in high school. I had two older brothers who were both athletes and were both honestly like they had, decent enough personalities and were socially, they were just connected socially. And so they blazed a trail for me. Like I knew that I was going to play sports, right? I did. I knew I was going to play football because my brother Kevin and Michael both played for Archbishop Carroll. And the games seemed like, you're at a small game with 500 people. It seems like you're at the Super Bowl when you're, in third or fourth grade. And then they blazed a trail for me, for lack of a better term, like socially. Everybody knew that I was Michael and Kevin's younger brother. So there was a lot of stuff that normally I think other kids may have dealt with that I was lucky, I was gifted to not have to deal with. Like, just like I was decisive about what I wanted to do. And I didn't have any pressure or too much trouble being accepted doing it, right? Other kids didn't have that blessing. I was fortunate. You look at other quarterbacks, other freshman quarterbacks, like it's not that easy just to parachute in and start in the Big 12. Go ask Scotty Fox at West Virginia. it's sometimes in the wrong environment. And this is not a knock on Scotty Fox. He's not really getting much of an opportunity to shine at West Virginia, but things just aren't in place for him there to do it. And as far as his DNA and the lineage, like nobody in his family has done it the exact same thing before him. And I think that Bear has really leaned on his brother and that DNA to have great success. He is releasing the football when he goes back to pass in 2.5 seconds. That's 15th in the country, and I think second in the Big 12. And you've got a Big 12 full of big-time quarterbacks. So now BYU is 7-0. And, of course, it's not all Bear Bachmeier, right? Their defense is third in the Big 12, allowing just 121 yards a game. And you talk to Coach Satake, and, of course, all he wants to do is, allocate credit anywhere other than him. One of the questions I asked him, I was like, hey, the BYU logo over the course of the summer, it could have been turned into a question mark because it's like, who's going to play quarterback? How are they going to respond? And here it is, BYU 7-0, nearing Halloween as an undefeated team, but it's not a costume, dude. This is who they are. And I asked him, what is the infrastructure at BYU that provides them these kind of opportunities? Because last year was the same deal, pick to finish towards the bottom, and an amazing year. And he talked about the infrastructure, and guys are willing. I think one of the things that BYU has that is so special now in a land and a sport full of mercenaries is that BYU has a lot of guys who are willing to follow, right? They follow guys like Jack Kelly, like they follow leaders and good strong leadership. And we're seeing it play out again today or this year. Now, the test, look, there's a reason why, and this is where the odds makers, I think, do a terrific job, because BYU is going to play at Iowa State, and Iowa State is a 3-point favorite, right? That actually makes sense because BYU has never won against Iowa State, right? 0-5 all time, and you go into that environment, it's going to be bloodthirsty at Jack Trice Stadium because they're still in the mix, right? And they know how to win. Like they're a big-time football team, and they feel like, they're pissed off. They got to be. Coming up on the short end of the stick 2 games straight after starting their season off undefeated. The good news for BYU is there's a decimated back seven for Iowa State. And no matter how good that, 3-3-5 defense is, I always call it a 3-5-5 because my math is always so great. That 3-3-5 defense, I got it right here and told on myself, their 2 corners are out for the year. And now they've had some time to figure that out. And we'll see, right, like how their bye week will suit them, because Baylor's bye week, I could be a wise guy, and I guess I will. I don't know exactly sure what they were doing during their bye week, but look, it didn't look like they were doing much. They didn't look very good. And West Virginia was the same thing. All right, Scotty, let's bring you in now. I can't wait to get a scintillating Scotty Swingler statistic as alliteration rules the day.
Yeah, that was impressive, Pete. Well done. Well done.
Cheers, dude. Coming in hot, I told you.
All right, brother. Here we go. I saw this on Twitter today from an account called Booze Cougs. I just want to give full credit to the guy that put this graphic up. Pete, look at this. True freshman quarterbacks start their careers 7-0. 2016, Jalen Hurts. 2017, Jake Fromm. 2018, Trevor Lawrence. And now, 2025, Bear Bachmeier. I would like to note, clearly these are 3 college football quarterbacks you like to be compared to individually. But Pete, Alabama, Georgia, and Clemson are pretty inarguably the 3 best college football programs of the 2010s. Pretty inarguably, right?
Yeah.
So what does this say not only about Bear himself playing outstanding football, but the culture and the program at BYU that allows a true freshman to step in as late as he did and go 7-0 to begin a season. By the way, 2 of these quarterbacks ahead of him won national championships, and the other guy played for one. I'm not trying to imply that is going to happen this year or even next year, but I think when I saw this, it speaks very well not only of Bear, but of the program, the culture, the environment there in Provo. This is pretty unbelievable to me.
It is, man. That's a great stat. That is like, it's got to be humbling, right? For a young Bear Bachmeier. And it could be some heady stuff, but I think that's part of the success for someone like him at BYU is because obviously he's been pretty even keeled, right? To be able to start as a freshman like that. How do you feel like this is the kind of young guy? I haven't watched him play. And I know you watched a lot of the game on Saturday.
I did.
Like, what kind of vibe do you get from him as far as sustaining this sort of success?
Yeah, I think, having not seen him play until this past weekend, I heard all these things about his athleticism and moxie, these quarterback adjectives we use, right?
Yeah,
he fits the bill, and he had some impressive plays. But Pete, what I noticed, and I think we oversay this about too many guys, but I think it's true, and I would actually compare him to Jalen Hurts in this regard. What I noticed when I was watching BYU play, those guys play for him and with him. Like, he seems, as a young player, to my eyes, to already have the ability to command a team and to take ownership of a team and to rally a team. And that is impressive for, what is he, 18, 19?
Yeah.
Like, that is really impressive. And it's a trait I think he shares with all 3 of these guys. I think most of Jalen had that trait as well as a freshman at Alabama. But, man, yeah, to answer your question, yes. I think that it's only up from here. I don't think it's just sustainable. I can only imagine he gets better with a full spring offseason in the program. More time to it. People talk about how hard it is to adjust to the speed of the college game. And again, I'm not projecting what the rest of the season holds for this young man, but he's playing incredibly well during the adjustment. What happens after he's completely made the adjustment?
Yeah.
That's got to be scary for the rest of the Big 12, man.
Yeah. You bring up a great point too, with like the ability to run. He's got 8 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Which I think is 6 for quarterbacks in all of college football. And
that one I saw Saturday was awesome.
I got the text from Scotty, Bear Bachmeier.
That was the play I texted you. Yeah. They'll run up the middle, little juke, little hurdle, carry a couple guys in the end zone with you. It was impressive, man. He's impressive.
He is really impressive. And I think that Aaron Roderick has done, I know from reading and watching, they've really, and this is when I saw this. I think you'll find this very interesting. It was talking about quarterbacks overall, and it talked about like Johnny Manziel, right? When he was at Texas A&M, you're running pure shotgun, right? Pure shotgun. And when you get into the NFL, like a Jaden Daniels, same thing, pure shotgun, right? And you can expose your quarterback to a lot of trouble. Like every play, the defense knows what's going to come at you, right? Like, or you know where the ball is. Like every set of eyes on defense knows exactly where the ball is at all times. When you run play action, the way that BYU has run play action, Aaron Roderick working to protect Bear Bachmeier, that play action game, along with LJ Martin, who leads the Big 12 in rushing, that type of efficient running game, you have the cocktail for great success. No offense to my folks at BYU who are staying off the sauce, but I'm off the sauce too. But that is a cocktail for great success because you're keeping the defense guessing, and Bear Bachmeier is so smart. Bear's thrown 6 interceptions this year. He's thrown none out of play action, right? Like it is to keep, and I think, why am I not thinking? I keep stalling. Why can't I think of the old Texas Tech coach who's now the Redskins OC?
Oh,
jeez. So Coach Kingsbury, I'm sitting here stalling, buffering.
I didn't know that's what
Well, you see, I'm actually gotten pretty good. Cliff Kingsbury, like he's a brilliant mind offensively, but a knock is developing somewhat on him and constantly in shotgun. kind of maybe hanging his quarterback out to dry. That was one of the reasons that was being kicked around yesterday, listening to some football analysts about why Jaden Daniels is getting hurt. And then I read this morning and watched some more BYU tape, and I saw how well Bear Bachmeier is out of play action. And he's really, really good, and the numbers support it, right? No interceptions out of that formation. All right, how about let's switch now, because I think is the great Hannah Hoover ready? All right, Hannah Hoover joining us right now. Hannah not only is as cool, there she is.
Hello.
She's in Oklahoma City. So what? By the way, so what station is it exactly?
It is KOCO.
KOCO. Okay.
Yes.
And how
ABC station, so we get to do all of the games more so than anybody else. So it's awesome.
Yeah, you get to do Oklahoma State. You get to do Oklahoma, which have been two like totally opposite situations this year, right? I mean, it has been. And then somewhere in the middle, you find time to watch your brother Josh, who is having another amazing season. Rank the priorities there for us. This is the hardest question I'm going to ask you all morning.
Listen, you have to pay the bills. So priority one is paying the bills, and then family comes in somewhere along the way. But this week was fun because my boss was like, hey, just go out there and see if you can, maybe catch a little bit of the game, because we didn't need to be on air until 10 p.m. And so we weren't able to cover OSU this week for whatever reason. And so I got up at 4 a.m., got on a flight from OKC to Dallas, got a rental car, drove to Fort Worth, made it in time for the game. Had to leave early though, because, all those weather delays were nuts.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but it was awesome. Like, I got to go watch Josh as the second game of the year. The first one was against North Carolina, which that one was pretty good. I think I have a good track record. I need to start going to more games, Pete.
How has it been? You're the big sister. What's it been like to see your little brother evolve as a young man and also as a quarterback, to both situations being at an elite level?
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. I've seen a big even shift in the last year. Just, faith is a really important part of our family and what makes us us. But I've really seen Josh take on like that as a person, for himself, not just, hey, this is part of our family's identity. Like, this is really who he is, and, just getting in the word. And so that's been special to watch. I think that you've probably seen a little bit of a shift. I even saw a little bit of a shift from Kansas State to the Baylor game for him, just taking a little bit more, in his words, accountability to find a way to encourage guys and make sure everyone was on the same page. And so that's the cool thing about football, is that it does give you a platform. And our family's always felt this way, whatever sport it was. My other brother plays baseball, but it really gives you a platform to make a difference in people's lives. And so everyone wants to win, right? Like, that's the goal. But I see Josh as, we're going to go out there and do everything we can to win, but it's also bigger than football, which means, investing in people's lives. And that's what makes me the most proud, is because one of these days this is all going to fade away. Like, we can only do this for so long, but people is what lasts forever, and so developing those relationships, it's cool to see. It's really neat. There's something cool going on at TCU.
You blessed me with a real good nugget a few years ago. We were talking and you mentioned, and I don't know who it was, doesn't even matter, but it was a high profile friend of yours who was a reporter at ESPN, and, journaling who you are outside of your job, because your job, whether you're a quarterback, whether you're a reporter, whether you're calling games, we get so consumed with that being our identity, right? When that's not our identity. Our identity is who we are inside, how we handle ourselves, our connection with the higher power. And that's helped me a lot. Like, it really has.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Journaling helps me too, because sometimes I talk too much. So if I put it down on a piece of paper, I'm like, I just stop spinning my wheels.
What's the family like? Is there a group text? Like, what is that like before and after games for you guys?
During the games is probably the funniest, and it's funny because like Josh doesn't even see any of that. But like Caleb and I, my youngest brother Caleb, we're kind of the one blowing up the group chat, and my my parents are kind of silent, but it's mainly because Caleb and I are watching from somewhere else. Before the game, there's a Bible verse posted. There's a long, we give my dad a hard time, but he is the best. Like, he sends us a novel of like encouragement, like a pep talk, basically. Everything's pretty even keel. I don't know. There is a little bit of a routine, though. It kind of becomes that way. You just kind of get into a routine in the family group chat. But yeah, no, there's a little more unfiltered in the family group chat. We share our honest opinions there.
I talked to Marshall Newhouse yesterday, a TCU alum, and played more than a decade in the NFL. Got blocked for Tom Brady, right? And I asked him what makes Josh so special, and he just did this. He said he's so steady. He's so steady, and like when you have the ability to throw the football like he does, and you combine that with that emotional security. Like, where does that come from? Like, did he always have that even keel, even before, he leaned on faith for that? Was he always kind of an even keel kid, or was he up and down, and has this developed?
Yeah, he's always been even keel. The best story for me to reference is when he was, I don't know. I just remember as soon as coach pitch stopped and he was pitching, I mean, he was always the guy they would put in, in the seventh inning for little league stuff. And he'd go out there and everyone would joke. They'd be like, oh, like, we're good now. Everyone knew that Josh could handle the moment. And so, yeah, I think that makes a difference. And he'll tell you about that too. When you ask him, it's, all of those little moments add up and help you become, the person and the player that you are on different stages. And so I totally think baseball, he thought he was going to be a baseball player. He really did. And so I think he would say that made a huge contribution just to the reps of being under pressure,
Yeah. Do you think you and your brother also, because I was literally just talking about Bear Bachmeyer, right? 7-0, true freshman starting at BYU. And his brother, Hank, went 6-0 as a freshman as well. And I have to imagine that makes the lights maybe not quite as bright for Bear, having seen his brother go through that. Do you think that your journey, your brother's journey, have sort of paved the way a little bit for Josh too, to see people kind of go through and achieve?
I think Josh is actually the one that's cutting edge. I think I'm the one that's behind. I always say that. I think I'm the little sister. Seriously. He's like my big brother. He is in a lot of ways. And he's just, like I said, he's real even keeled and steady. And so I think we kind of been on a similar path. I wouldn't say I paved the way at all. Like maybe my parents would say something different, but like I just view myself as a little bit. It took me a while to get going in journalism. It really did. It was a struggle for me. And so it kind of happened at the same time. I got the job when I met you in Waco, and he started to become the starter that exact season. He was fighting the job with Chandler Morris. Chandler Morris went down, and that was when I was in Waco and I really got my start. So yeah, I think we're on the same timeline, and it's encouraging because, you can call someone and be like, man, as a sibling, and just kind of get some encouragement, because my scale is not as big as his by any means. But it's definitely like, you're still trying to find your way and carve your path. And one of these days I'm going to give him a run for his money and maybe be right there with him.
Well, honestly, that's what's been really cool, just to watch your star rise and to see you not only, a lot of people get credentials and they're around big events, but like you are covering these events. And your presentation is awesome. Obviously, your knowledge, it doesn't hurt that you have a real head for the game of football and sports in general. Like, how have you found that to, transition from Waco, and now you're covering, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Oklahoma State football, Oklahoma football, like, or whatever else I'm leaving out. Like, how has that transition been for you to really, honestly, Hannah, finally get a platform for you to shine? And you have.
Thank you. The transition was kind of like sink or swim, honestly. Like, you're just thrown to the wolves. But I knew I could always do it. But the reps help. So you're always going to be a little more confident after you've done it a couple of times. But covering the NBA Finals and playoffs leading up to it, we were there for every game. I joked at the beginning that, ABC gives you a lot of opportunity because you get the pregame and postgame show. Nobody else does that. So that really helped me a lot, just to feel comfortable to jump on air at any time and, do an hour's worth of sports. A lot of it is off the cuff, especially in a postgame. So you know how that works. So it was really, really helpful for me. But I think I think it's just, I have a boss who's really great at letting me just be off the cuff and just let it rip, if you will, not much of a script. And that was really helpful for me because I'm someone that likes a plan and wants to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It got me out of my element, but I really think it's helped me grow a ton in the last, I've only been here like a year and a half now. So we've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff. Really, we have. In Oklahoma, they're giving us a platform too to just do more games, have more pregame shows. This year's been good for them.
It's so cool. And you kind of almost took us behind the scenes. I just want to talk shortly about that. It is interesting in the world of TV news. Like, I feel like sometimes we can become so script driven or I used to work in it, not anymore, but I see it happen to reporters or anchors where, you have to have a script over to the producer so the producer can put it in the prompter so everybody knows what the heck is going on. Yeah. That's all well and good. But the days of you are there, you just saw it, you got a couple bullets in your head, tell me what you saw, right? And that's what the opportunities you get with these pregame shows and with some of that letting it rip. And it is a sink or swim. And I think that is the environment, not only for young reporters and anchors to grow, but also to provide people with the best content.
Definitely, because you're getting to see things from a firsthand experience and you're behind the scenes. Like you said, a lot of people get credentialed, but it's really cool to have, the backing of a local TV station give you that platform to be able to share what you see and to be able to articulate it in a way that, brings people in. So I really liked our post-game coverage, and I obviously am partial to it, but a lot of it was because we could just let it fly. And I found myself in studio, like we do in studio shows too for sports, and we don't have a script in there at all. We are just
that's the way you do it.
It's so much more fun. And of course, when you have a 3.5 minute, sports cast and you got to get it 3.5 minutes, that's a different scenario. Yes. You got to have more of a script. But if you have, a half hour, let's just see where this thing takes us and have a little outline,
Yeah.
People, it makes for better TV and more jokes. And that's what people like to hear.
It's the truth.
Corny,
Yes, it's the truth. Now, you had it was fun to actually follow Oklahoma State and what was happening kind of through you, because you were really there. You had that, I guess, Friday night game before Coach Gundy got fired. And what was that like? Just a monumental changing of the guard taking place in Stillwater. How were you able to cover that? Give it like the perspective from a football and journalistic approach, but also like the empathy, like, wow, this is a huge change in Stillwater.
Yeah, it's hard because I take it from a perspective of like, I have someone that's in the race. Like my brother obviously plays, and it's not the same as a coaching position, but anytime someone says something about your brother in the media, it's like, your sister comes out of it when it's negative. 1 week they love you, the next week they hate you. And it's just, that's how it goes with quarterbacks. But it's kind of the same, I'm sure in a lot of ways with coaches and head coaches, they're just under the microscope. And for a while, Gundy just, it wasn't happening. He's a great guy, hilarious. Every time you go to a press conference, it makes you laugh. But, it's one of those scenarios where, like you said, changing of the guard was kind of the only option people wanted to hear anymore. And it was hard. I think from one perspective, I really tried to just, report what I saw going back to that. I think the hardest thing for me as like just a person, was hearing the student section chant "Fire Gundy." I mentioned that, like, that was really hard for me to listen to just because of all the things that he had done and all of his track record. And so when you heard that coming from the student section, you just kind of, you realized it might be done, and I didn't realize how soon it would be done. And so we thought it would be announced on Monday, if anything were to be happening, just because they had that press conference Monday. Yeah. And I went back home to Dallas. They gave me a call randomly, "Hey, Gundy is fired." So I'm at lunch with my mom, like just whipping out the cell phone, like doing some kind of a outside, that's just how it goes. Like, that's, broadcast has changed a lot. But it was hard for me, Pete. I'm always going to be compassionate and like be an advocate for players and coaches just because I feel closer to that side of things. And I think that gives me maybe a little bit of a perspective culturally speaking, because I am close to that side of it. So it was hard for me. And I definitely wanted to give his laundry list of great things he did when I reported about it.
Yeah, no, you did a heck of a job. Turning the page now to much more success that you've been witnessing up the road in Norman. Why has Oklahoma been able to be successful this year in what felt like a make or break year for Coach Venables, just because of, you look at the past couple of years in the SEC, maybe not as prominent as they would like to be on a consistent basis. From what you've seen at the games, recording front row seat, what has changed for them, and why do you think they've been successful?
Defense is still good, so I don't think that's really the thing, other than that Coach Venables is calling the defense, and I think there's more confidence there. Secondly, it's got to be John Mateer. He just has a leadership quality about him, and some guys have it and some guys just don't, and he's going to will his way to a win, and that's just his personality. And I got to talk to him one-on-one and saw that firsthand. He's kind of like a little chippy with you when you interview him. And I like that, gives you a hard time. And granted, I was giving it back to him. So it was part of the fun and banter. But yeah, no, just even how he got back out there. Texas was not the best scenario for him. Obviously 3 interceptions and just, it wasn't a good day for him. But I think it goes back to the offensive line and they've had struggles there. And so I think moving forward, it was really encouraging to see what they did against South Carolina. Their offensive line looked a lot better. Their run game got going. And, I heard you talking about that last week about the Baylor game and the TCU game. Like, whoever's run game gets going, it helps the quarterback out so much more. The quarterback can only do so much, and the passing game is helped out a lot. So I think that John Mateer has more of a running ability, but they really leaned on that at the beginning of the season. And now it's like, you can't just, that's not sustainable. Like, he can't continue to be that. So maybe they're trying to figure it out. To answer your question, what makes it more successful, his leadership. But I still think there's some elements on the offense that they're, trying to make it happen. And maybe Texas was proof of that. But also, I'll use the excuse of, hey, you just had a surgery 17 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. I just think it's fun to see Oklahoma having success in the SEC, because even though, I could say you too, I'm a Big 12 guy. Again, you got to keep the lights on. And the Big 12 is a hell of a conference, but the SEC is something special. When you get a chance to cover both of those conferences, what are some of the differences you see in the Big 12 and the SEC?
Well, this year's hard to say from Oklahoma State's perspective, just because it isn't the same. They are like the biggest or the best fan environment in college sports, and that's what they've been labeled. But I don't feel like it's the same experience. And so I think it's just the pageantry and all the tradition that comes with the SEC, as far as like at face value from a fan perspective and coming in, and just like the SEC carries a lot of weight and everybody's watching it, and it gets the most attention, probably eyeballs wise. But, I don't know. There's something about the Big 12 that I really like to watch. It's because every week you really just don't know.
You don't know
who's going to win, and anybody can win. And so that, from a game perspective, to me is more exciting. But I will say that the SEC is kind of becoming that way. It's kind of shifting with the NIL and just the transfer portal and all the things. And now we're starting to see the effects of that more so now than ever. Teams that used to historically be like, sometimes you can just beat them, and I think that's what makes it more exciting. So I don't know, maybe the level, the playing field is being leveled a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm partial to Pete, because I got a horse in the race.
All right, before we let you out of here, where can people find you? Like, what, if people want to see all this sports reporting you're doing?
I mean, yeah, it's hard, right? Because you're not in Oklahoma, so you can't go just flip on Channel 5.
Yeah.
I try to do little clips and things that I report. Like you saw the Mike Gundy information I put out there. It's just at Hannah, V as in Victoria, Hoover, and that's pretty much my profile everywhere.
Anything you're working on specifically, a story in particular right now? Like, take us inside.
Tonight's ring night for OKC Thunder. So it's the NBA opener. And so it's so dynamic for so many reasons, because they're playing Houston, and we're going to try not to make it about Kevin Durant, but he's there, and
Yeah.
he played 10 seasons, so it's a little history there. But no, it's really cool. And this Oklahoma City Thunder team, they just kind of proved everyone wrong, which was so fun to be in the middle of. And this is like the cherry on top tonight. You do the finals, you cover everything, and then now you get to be like, all right, we're putting a cherry on top and we move on to the next season. And they might just be just that good next season too. So I don't know. I might be busy, Pete.
I think you will be. And hopefully you'll be able to carve out some more time to talk with us. Hannah Hoover, you're one of the best on and off the field. I truly appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for talking and calling me up. It was fun.
Yeah, you got it. All right, anytime. Take care. That's Hannah. Man, I'm telling you, she is awesome. One of the best people in the business. And you can tell. I mean, she's really, really good. And it's really cool to see her star rise alongside her brother. And I think that is also neat. There's a little competitive spirit there, right? At least with her, like, hey, one of these days I'm going to give him a run for his money. I love that because, man, Josh he's the money guy right now. I'm so excited to get out there to call West Virginia and TCU. West Virginia might put me at quarterback. They've started 4 different quarterbacks in their last 4 Big 12 games. I always feel bad. Like I'm kind of buddies with their radio guy, Tony Caridi. I just like him a lot. I listen to, I always talk about what people, I don't always, so if people ask me, how do you prepare? Like for instance, they have 3 guys talking about the game. Or talking before the game is a podcast. It's Tony Caridi and these 2 other like stats guys who have so much intel on West Virginia football and basketball. So if I want to get dialed in before a game, I listen to that pod. And it's really funny because it's always entertaining. They're very loose. And, West Virginia is very bad right now. I mean, they've not seen this. So my point is, like Tony knows, we talk about career and stuff. Like Dave Pasch ain't walking through the doors Saturday night to call the game for ESPN. I am. So like, if you're a team in the Big 12, like Baylor plays Utah late in the year, like you guys, Baylor fans, or maybe you do want to see me because you want to turn the page, but like, you don't want to see me calling that game. Like I come into town, and it's like, oh boy. As I go up, the team may be coming down. So it's all good. All right, the Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovaceks. Thank you so much to Hannah Hoover. We're going to come back, put a bow on this thing because we're heading to Big 12 Media Days. I am later today. And then tomorrow, we're going to be holding it down with some amazing, interesting Scotty Swingler entertainment, some of which has already been chronicled and recorded. And then we will get you that Kalani Sitake interview on Thursday or Friday. We'll figure that out. Probably Friday. Let's say Friday. And then, we're at Big 12 Media Days. And that's one thing I'll say. I promise you, I will have a lot of good Big 12 basketball scoop on Thursday. So I think we're going to be focusing a lot on breaking details, stories that I hear there that I can convey to you guys, that I can verify before I convey them. Always cool to be in a pool like that and to have an outlet like this where you can share your stuff. Thank you for everybody. Anybody in the chat? Tell Brian. Brian's the man. What's up, Brian? He sent me a nice note yesterday or a couple days ago. We got to get back together, have some lunch. All right, the Pete Sousa Show will be right back after this short break.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble does bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
The Pete Sousa Show. It is October 21st. Hannah giving us the quick update that the NBA season does start today. And it's interesting, right? Like when you're in an NBA city where your team has won the national championship, like you are wide awake and aware of the NBA season starting. One little TV nugget I've noticed that's been sneaky is that now I want you to realize tomorrow night, the NBA on TNT, those guys will be on ESPN. I have ESPN on a lot in my home when I'm working. I just have it on in the background. I'm still that guy, right? Like if I'm going to watch something, I'm going to watch it. Like I watched Task, the finale last night. I mean, come on. Our boy Brad Inglesby from Philadelphia, Archbishop Carroll. He brought it, dude. Brought it. Amazing show, amazing finale, paid it off. So obviously when I watched that, I was watching it, right? But a lot of times I'm doing work, I'll have ESPN on. And I have noticed very little promotion about the TNT guys inside the NBA being on ESPN. And I'm starting to think that's like sort of by design in some way. I'm not quite sure why. I haven't filtered it out. So I apologize for the half-baked thought. But I have noticed you would think that a show that big with such tremendous ratings and footprint in the NBA zeitgeist will be promoted a little more, but maybe they don't need to promote it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a method behind all this that I'm just not aware of because I'm not in the room and I'm not a marketing person. But, Yeah, I noticed that. But yeah, the NBA season starting tonight, which is wild. Which means the Big 12. Let me pull up something real quick here. So I'm fortunate enough to be doing some Big 12 radio for Baylor, right? So my main man, JMO, John Morris, here's the email or the text. So Monday, November 3rd, that's the first Baylor home game. They play UTRGV. And so it's coming, guys. It's coming. So Big 12 Media Days coming up here in a few days or tomorrow, sorry. But the Big 12 football weekend, here it comes, baby. Week 9. And there are a lot of really big games. The reason I'm talking about this is because it's top of the mind, just coming over here from doing Inside the 12. And Scotty, I'll ask you a question at the tail end of this, okay? And we'll actually close the show with that because it's going to be a grand finale, as they say. This is just for the fan at home. Did you know? I did not. I should have known this. I did not know that Kansas State has won 16 straight matchups in the Sunflower State Showdown. 16. They've beaten Kansas. Well, they're favored on Saturday by 2.5 points. We already talked about BYU and Iowa State a little bit. I got to say, I love BYU. That is, you can't even call it a trap game because Iowa State's favored. I would be surprised if they come out of Ames with a win. And if they do come out of, if BYU can show that they can win a game like this on the road, they can win a national championship. I mean, like, is that a little bit much?
Prisoner Pete. Okay. They can.
Oh, no, I'm willing to reassess. Okay. Okay. They could win a round in the college football playoff. How about that? Sure. I truly believe that. Yeah. Because the thing about BYU is they travel. And what I mean by that is they play great defense and they run the ball well. So that kind of football really can propel you towards success in the latter stages of the season, like when you have to go play a road game at Ames. By the way, that game is at 2:30 Central Time, which is earlier in the day. I've watched BYU, whether it's basketball or football. I believe that they struggle early in the day in games. I used to have a stat to support it in basketball, but I can't think about it off the top of my head. So how about they're the matchups? Awesome, Scotty. Texas Tech, okay, against Oklahoma State. They are 38.5-point favorites.
That's why they didn't make the graphic.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't have. The only thing people are worried about in Lubbock is don't throw any tortillas on the field. If you throw the dough, we're going to have to pay the dough, possibly $100,000 fine. I don't care how much money anybody has. You don't want to go kicking out $100,000 because some bonehead threw a tortilla on the field. So it'll be interesting to see if they can hang on to them. If I was an Oklahoma State fan, I would show up and throw all the tortillas and see what happened. Baylor and Cincinnati, we'll save that for the end. The biggest game of the weekend in the Big 12 is Houston against Arizona State. That could be a coming of age for Connor Wegman because right now Arizona State has proven that the Big 12 goes through Tempe after beating Texas Tech at home. I'd even heard, and maybe I shared this yesterday, but I heard from a real reliable source that Kenny Dillingham really knew what he was doing by keeping Sam Leavitt out of that Utah game. I'm not saying he's never going to, he just knew that Texas Tech game was coming up in a week. And that was a game that they really, if they could win, would be huge. And saving Sam Leavitt for that game. I mean, we saw it. Sam Leavitt is in the middle of the pack when you talk about Big 12 and successful statistical quarterbacks. But when you talk about the clutch gene and making the throws when the time is, the pressure's on, the dude has done it. And he's one of those guys, just like we were talking to Hannah Hoover earlier, reps, right? Like he's gone through the reps. Kalani Sitake talked to us about that. I asked him a question today. Why has BYU always been good the past 2 years for the most part in these difficult pressure cooker situations? And he said, It's because we practice all of them, of course. And I understand that they do. And I know a lot of teams do that. But he said, we do it in practice, and we've had the opportunity to do it in games, right? And so we have become that team that's built up that scar tissue. And they know what those situations are like. Back to Houston and Arizona State and Sam Levitt know what those situations are like. So for Houston, I think that they need to come out and throw a couple early punches and get a lead and hang on for dear life. I don't like playing behind against Arizona State at Arizona State, and I think you can hit them in the mouth and make a difference. That spread, by the way, is the Sun Devils are favored by 7.5. Arizona State ranked 24th in the country. BYU is still 6-1, 6-1, still not in the top 25. For total transparency, I believed before the season that Houston would win more than 5.5 games. Maybe I was invested in it. Maybe I wasn't. But if I was, I would have already won my money because they have won 6 games. So congrats to Willie Fritz and the crew. And a late night game in the Big 12. This is when I think the Big 12 is just gift wrapping awesome stuff to the country. 9:15 Central Time, 10:15 Eastern. Colorado and Coach Prime go to Salt Lake City. That's just a fun game. And I'm starting to think, all right, Scotty, let me bring you in on this one. I'm starting to think I have got this spidey sense that says we could be watching Coach Prime's last little tour de force through the Big 12 in college football. Do you get that sense at all?
I'd love to hear your evidence. I don't have a strong feeling either way.
I would say lack of sensational players, including his sons, which kept him extremely invested. Some of the health stuff, which we don't know.
Yeah,
right. But that that's not going to move him closer to staying longer anywhere.
Sure.
Right. And could lead him closer to taking a break. And 2, man, it's hard out there. It ain't easy to keep reloading. He's seeing it. So I think there's 2 sides. One, Coach Prime will surprise us once again and stay the course, right? And if nothing else, just kind of finish the run in Colorado without leaving prematurely. I think his faith has a lot to do with that. I think he really is having fun, and I think he loves being around the guys. I think people are still sort of stuck on Coach Prime and all he needs all this excitement and wins to keep going. That could be where my thought could be stale, the one I just presented to you. But I do get a feeling, and it could be that old thinking that says, is this they're 3-4. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this past year has changed my thinking on Prime. I think I would have expected him to leave after last year.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, Shedeur, obviously going up to the NFL, plus the health stuff, which we didn't know about till August.
Yeah.
I think I'm shocked he didn't leave in the midst of that. And it makes me want to believe he's at Colorado as long as he wants to be a coach.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I we'll see. We'll see how the season plays out. I would also be interested. I know what Florida State said publicly, but if they fire Mike Norvell, they're going to call Dion. And I think even last year when Shedeur was balling out and Travis Hunter's winning the Heisman, we're like, well, if Florida State ever calls, he's going to go home. And so I don't know. There's some X factors there, but I don't know that I'm getting just the sense like you are that he's out.
Okay, speaking of coaches we didn't talk about Baylor when I went through that Big 12. Cincinnati, 21st in the country. Dave Aranda, spot on, quite possibly yesterday when he said this might be the best team we face all year.
I think he said it. I think he said it is.
Yeah. So your thoughts on this game where Cincinnati is only a 4.5-point favorite? I say only because
that's a surprising line.
Yeah, you usually get 2 points, period, for being the home team.
Surprising line.
2.5. So, but that should tell you something, maybe.
Well, it tells you Baylor can score enough points to keep up with just about anybody in the country.
Yeah.
But Baylor has not shown an ability to stop anyone. I saw that Baylor is, Jackson Posey put this out, 2 spots below 0-7 UMass in terms of defensive stop rate this season.
Wow.
So that's good. Like 119th in the country. I think second lowest in all of Power 4 football.
You don't want to be kicked around with UMass in statistics.
in no reference.
No, yeah.
Absolutely. So, I'm pretty pessimistic, Pete. I thought coming off a bye week against your rival, you had a real opportunity, and Baylor failed that test by every measure this past Saturday. And it really changes how you feel about the rest of the season. And by the way, I think I said it to you yesterday. I've definitely said it on other shows this week. If you lose to Cincinnati, which is likely, I'm so fascinated to see what Waco and Baylor alum do the following weekend at homecoming. I'm interested to see what that stadium feels like. I'm interested to see what UCF comes out and plays like. That's the game that's going to determine a lot of what happens behind the scenes at Baylor for the next 3 weeks. I think the homecoming game that follows this potential 0-2 road trip that is really deflating.
Well, one thing I will say, it is that time of year. Cam sent me, I forget what it was that Cam Stewart put up about. I think it was Dave said they're fired up. So it says Dave Aranda fired.
Fired. Oh, the big graphic that said fired. And then in tiny letters.
I don't know if that was Barstool, whatever it was clickbait rubbish.
Yeah,
okay, I get it. But I sent Cam a picture of Wayne Fonts, the old Detroit Lions coach, who every year Lions fans wanted fired.
Yeah.
And every year cobbled together some kind of winning streak or momentum that headed into the offseason where he kept his job. And I just sent, I feel like that's Dave. Right now for Baylor fans. Like, they're like, oh gosh, because look, Baylor is a 4.5 point dog. Like, they could win in Cincinnati. And then you come home and you could beat UCF. Like,
Pete, you've been like the optimist.
No. I'm a realist. They shouldn't win those games. But what happens if they do? Seriously.
They won't. Like,
no. You can't say that.
I can.
No, you can't.
Brother,
see, that's where you can't.
Brother, this is like thinking the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl because they just beat the
Nobody's
Commanders.
Saying that. But beating Cincinnati and UCF at home is not an undeniable feat for.
I think beating this Cincinnati team at their place during their homecoming, after what we just saw,
it's a long shot.
Is so absurdly not in the realm of possibility.
Okay, so let me drill down with you on this.
Okay.
And then we got to go.
I'm going to answer some comments and then we can go.
Okay. Oh, please do. Okay. Don't tell me what you feel.
Okay.
I need you to get Scotty Swingler, the savage Baylor football supporter, out.
That's tough.
Knowing Baylor, the administration, and Mack Rhoades, as you have grown to know them over Mack Rhoades' tenure, what do you think will happen with Dave Aranda? Like, truly, like what does it take for him to stay? What happens for his seat to get extremely hot? Like what does it take? What do you think?
I think the seat got hot Saturday. I do.
Okay.
I think it was warm. I think being 1-5 against your biggest rival, including this season with your most talented team in 5 years, in the fashion in which it's happening, the fact that Dave Aranda, the head coach, would fire Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator, this week if he could. I think the seat is hot. I think, right or wrong, and we've talked about this, if that stadium is bone dry empty during homecoming, which is one of Baylor's golden calves, Pete, is the homecoming experience. Pigskin will be great. The bonfire will be great. The parade will be great. If that football stadium is empty, and God forbid if Baylor struggles against UCF, I expect Baylor to beat UCF. But if that game's rough, I think Mac may wait till the end of the season, but I don't think Dave's staying. Okay. And it's going to be way more, Pete. I think it's way more, and I don't like this. I think it's way more about the lack of support he's getting from fans, I presume from certain donors, the Bear Foundation memberships that are being threatened to be canceled, the wildly large amount of ex-players I've specifically seen taking to social media this week and saying this isn't good enough, it's going to be that creates something more than anything on the football field, in my opinion. Now, you win out the rest of the season and somehow finish with 9 wins, forget about it. We're good. But there's no evidence to suggest that's going to happen. There's absolutely none, right?
Yeah, no, but I appreciate
I want to tell you something I heard. I talked to Dan Horde today, the play-by-play guy for the Bearcats, and we're going to air that later this week. He was awesome. He said Scott Satterfield wrote down 4 goals on the whiteboard for the Cincinnati Bearcats before this season. Mind you, they went 5-7 last year, 3-9 the year before. He wrote down 4 goals, and the last bullet point is Dallas. And by that, he meant reach the Big 12 title game. Why? Because at Cincinnati, they have an expectation to compete for conference championships on the regular. And they do. They did it in the Big East. They did it in the American. They're doing it right now in the Big 12.
Are you trying to say Scott Satterfield is a better coach than Dave Aranda
I'm
because
not.
he puts goals on a board?
No.
All right.
I'm saying I'm saying he might be. We don't know. I'm saying there's a culture and an expectation at Cincinnati that we have the recruiting bed in Ohio, the history, the legacy, and the support to constantly compete for conference championships. And if we go 3 or 4 years without competing for a conference championship, it's not good enough here. That's what Dan Horde essentially told me this today. Baylor needs to have the same expectation. Dan Horde even said Texas is a richer recruiting environment than Ohio, as good as Ohio is.
I don't like this compare. I don't like where you've taken this.
Sorry.
I think you have.
We need.
I told you not to make it personal, and you.
And I didn't, and now I am. We need an administration and a head coach who gets up on the whiteboard and writes Dallas, or we know better, Arlington.
Yes, we do.
And if that's not the expectation, it's not good enough. It's not. And the reason I did bring that up is because fans are telling you that with their wallets right now. They're not buying tickets. Ex-players are more and more getting on social media and telling you that because they competed with those expectations here at Baylor. And if donors, and God forbid, somebody in this 2026 recruiting class gets in and says, I want to go to a school that competes for championships. Yeah. It's over for Dave no matter what.
All right, go ahead. Read the comments.
All right. Well, now they're all responding to what I was just saying. Sick and Bear says Cincinnati is easy money this week. And then I liked this one. I wanted to read this one. I'd be okay being lumped in with UMass in hockey or something. That's good. And then Bear the Truth asked, you can respond to this, Pete, and then I have one more. Bear the Truth says, is Baylor closer to 6-1 or 1-6 this year based on the way they've played?
I mean, that sucks to say it.
But what do you think?
I think 1-6.
I do too.
That. Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah,
2 Jacob Redding interceptions away, by the way.
Yeah.
And then last thing off topic. We'll end the show with this. NBA does kick off tonight. Scotty, are you making up with Nico this year? No. Go Lakers.
So that's a great question, Brian. Bear the Truth, because you realize that this is like people
that the Mavs are really good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And what did I tell you last year? I said it doesn't matter how good they get. If Nico's in that building, I'm done. You don't treat Luka Doncic that way. I'm done. Go Lakers.
Don't get me. It's so funny.
Luka, did you watch Luka on Hot Ones?
No, but now you've got me. I'm already all in on the NBA in like 2 seconds because there's so much.
All right. Well, you got to come back and do it later this week.
Yeah, I'll do it later this week. I mean, Stephen A. was on Carmelo Anthony's pod yesterday saying that I don't like the guy. He went in for 3.5 minutes on LeBron James.
And he picked the Mavs to win the finals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have 2 hopes.
Not that Stephen A. is the guy that we should trust.
No, but he knows what's going on with hoops.
He knows a little bit.
I mean, the Sixers or whatever. Joel Embiid's actually a human being.
VJ Edgecombe wrecked in the preseason.
Yeah, and so that'll be fun. Joel Embiid's going to be healthy tonight. We'll keep an eye on VJ. The Sixers are my squad, obviously. But if the Mavs were to win, that would be neat. That would be hilarious. But Stephen A. Smith is attacking LeBron James. He's all but certain that King James won't get physical with him. Like, I would be careful. That's all I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, like the way that he's talking, like that's how you get your ass kicked.
Yeah. Well,
right, wrong, or indifferent.
And I'll tell you who sucks for that. Melo sucks for that. Because Melo and LeBron are supposedly boys.
Yeah.
And they have been for a long time. And I don't understand if I'm really, and maybe that speaks to something about LeBron. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't want to just post up and say Stephen A. and Melo are bad people. I don't think that.
For folks who don't know, some of the pointed remarks that Stephen A. said, he's like, he is one way.
Called him a liar, two-faced, all this stuff. Yeah.
Totally different off camera.
Yeah. Which is probably true of all of us to some extent.
Sure.
If we're being human, right?
Yeah.
But I would say if to Melo, that surprised me more than anything, because we know Stephen A. doesn't like LeBron. They've had beef a long time.
Yeah.
But Melo is supposedly one of LeBron's boys, or at least was last I knew. And I don't know, man. If I've got a podcast with my name on it and you come on talking like that about one of my boys, I'm not letting you do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut you off and say, listen, bro, I'm going to cut you off. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's because I'm a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I was really shocked. Not that Stephen A. said what he said, but that Melo, it's his podcast, and he sat there and let the guy go.
A little wishy-washy for Melo, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great show, man. We'll be back. Scotty's got you handled tomorrow, then Thursday and Friday. We'll close it out. But yeah, thanks to Chris Visser. Thanks to Scotty Swingler. Yeah, man. Great show. I mean, I appreciate everybody watching and listening, and, please like, subscribe, the whole deal. If you missed it, Hannah Hoover was amazing. So go back and check out her interview from today. And thanks for the support. Thanks, Levachiks. We'll see you.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.